Okay, we are ready to give her a new fun haircut. So we did the initial chop off. It's gone! Took most of the length off and then we colored it. And if you want to watch the color technique, then the link to that video is going to be right here. And you can go back and forth. And this haircut is also at the link at the end of that video, if that makes sense. So they are together, but they're separate, just to save on some time here. We are going to start by parting her hair where she naturally wears it. So the front's parted where it's supposed to be, and then I always just center it up back here so that I can have the back right down the middle. So part that back section just right down the middle, kind of in a T parting. So we're gonna do the T. So right at the top of the head down to just behind the ear. And this is just gonna help us to keep everything organized. So I'm gonna pin this one up. And she has a lot of hair. So we're gonna have to texturize this so that it doesn't get big and huge and poofy. So I have the T parting in the back, and I'm just going to take a section just at the roll of the head back here. So it's just where her head starts to flatten out right in the back here. If you were to lay a comb on it and go straight like perpendicular to a wall, that's where that roll of the head is on the back of the head. So we're gonna do it right there. And I'm slightly diagonal forward just because we do want a little bit more length in the front, and that will help us to have a good guide to just be able to see that there's a line diagonal like that. And I'm going to do the same on this side too. And try to make sure that your angles are the same. So make sure they go to the same point in the ear on both sides. So with this cut, it's going to be pretty blunt, but then also have lots of texture throughout it. So we're not going to be doing any elevation with the layers, and everything's going to be at natural fall, and then we'll go through and we'll texture out some of the hair so it's not so bulky. So I'm going to have her just slightly tip her head forward and just draw in or cut in a nice straight line back here. And you can see from where we cut our ponytail, there's the line right there. That's kind of leftovers from the ponytail. So I'm just going to start about there and clean up. And then I'm slightly pulling this in the diagonal direction, just a little bit, so that we have a little bit more length in the front. But I'm not lifting it up off of her head. I'm just keeping it down at natural fall, but over directed. So it's directed this way, but it's not lifted away from the head. So if we were trying to make a weight line, we'd be pulling her hair up to here, cutting it, and then that would make like a layery weight line right here. But since we want it to be pretty solid, we're keeping it all straight down like this. Trying to keep the line pretty straight. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And you can even comb this down and roll it down and see if you have any long pieces. You can just kind of go in and clip them out. So the other side, we're going to be pulling the hair this way now. And try to keep your shears similar angle to this parting so that it's keeping a little bit of length in the front. And then I always, just on this first part, check and make sure that they're the same length on these ends. And this one is a little bit longer, so I know that I need to take this angle a little bit different. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing and roll the hair down onto the cape. And you don't want to dig the comb into their head, you just want to do it like this, and then you roll it, kind of flipping it out so that it smooths it right down onto their back. And then you can see any spots that have a little bit more length in them. There we go. So just to make sure that's much better. still a little bit long right in here. So then when you comb everything down at natural, follow the hair, it should be a little bit of a scoopy shape. There we go, you can clean it up a little bit. So there's our guide. That's what we're going to be using for the rest of these sections in the back. You can take down 1 inch at a time on each side. And then just cut it to that same guide that you have just made. And it won't even meet for some of it, but just make sure you check anyway. There's some right there. Okay, so now we're going to go to the sides. Kind of the same how we did the color. And pin that up, and I'm going to continue this angle. So this is going to be getting pulled back to the back of the hair and cut straight on this line right here. And it's already kind of there because of the way we cut it in the ponytail. We're just mainly cleaning up, and we're trying to make sure that both sides are even. Because when you cut the ponytail off, sometimes one's a little bit longer. So we're pulling it all back here, and you can see the guide right here. We're just going to go in and cut that off. And this side that she has her hair parted over to, like the part that has more hair on it, is thicker, so I'm taking more sections on this side and just bringing them down a little bit smaller sections at a time to just match up what I have already cut to that guide back here. So I'm just making sure that there isn't anything longer on the top in the middle here. You can just point cut them out if there's longer little pieces that can reach over. And then I'm going to show you how to get this one cut. So in the front here, it's really hard to get it to be a straight line because the hair comes over so quick that it kind of lays on top of each other, and it's like hiding behind underneath the guide. So you just need to go in here like this and take sections and then just comb those back a little teeny bit at a time until you find that guide underneath. So right there, there's the guide. So that one matches up with this other side. But we need to make sure that this hair does too. So we're going to take teeny little sections like 1/4 to 1/2 inch and slowly comb them over just a little teeny bit at a time, because then you can see the tiny little difference between the guide, and the guide doesn't get lost. So you can see when you lift it up, it's under there. Just Just a little bit more needs to come off. And it's so close because of the way we cut it in that ponytail at first. But sometimes you can't. Don't lose your guide. If you're losing your guide, you need to take smaller little teeny sections. See, here we go. It's a lot easier to see that those hairs are long now, and you can just cut them off. And then a teeny little section again. Really like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, just, it's worth the extra little time to make sure that you're not losing your guide under here. See, all of this was kind of hidden before when it was all pulled back. So when you have all the hair smoothed down and pulled back to like this back line down here, you will have this little C shape. You'll see here. It's like a little mini shallow rainbow. And that's what we want. And that's where we're going to get the length on the front. See, when it comes up here, you still have all this pretty length. And I have to point out one other thing. Since we didn't part her hair right in the middle, this pulls a little bit longer because the hair is traveling from a further distance to the guide. So it's a little bit longer over here. We can adjust that when it's dry. Sometimes people like it to be a little asymmetric, but it's really easy just to take this and point cut it out and make it look like it is the same length, even though it is a little bit longer right now, but that's because of the way we pulled it back. So if you part the hair straight down the middle and do it, then it will be even on both sides. But then if you were to part it where they do part it and pull it over, this hair would be shorter because you cut it over here. So that's why I always leave it this way. It's just because I can eyeball it when it's dry and make it look right. So I'm going to texturize her hair now. And we are going to we have the basic cut in now. So I'm going to take it in the back again and part it right down the middle. And then section off again, kind of the same way we started before, just that back section. But I'm not going to T-part the front this time. I'm just going to put it kind of all up in a big clip. And it doesn't really matter if it's angled forward or whatever back here because we're not putting the basic cut in now, we're just texturing. So I'm just going to take this back section and I'm going to take sections like this and pull them out. And I'm going to put the shears in and just kind of slither out some of this bulk. And I'm going to do just a few until it starts to be more see-through. Not see-through, and you don't want the hair to look super thin, but we just want movement and texture in the hair. And you don't want to take like a cut. You're just sliding the shears in and then they should be sharp enough to just slide it down the hair shaft all the way to the end and just remove some of that bulk. And so I'm going to move from the middle to the right and then go back to the middle and start moving this way just to keep it organized. So inch sections, I am pulling these out, but I'm not cutting the ends off because that would be layering and we're just more texturizing. So we're just going to go in here and slide down with the shears. You can also use a razor for this. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. If you don't want to try this technique, then you can use the razor. But you can see that her hair still looks pretty solid. It's not making it look like we have a bunch of layers in it. And what's fun with this too is that you can kind of pull out the color where you want. So if you have like a darker chunk and you want to get rid of that, you can lift up the dark chunk and chunk it out and leave the lighter piece. Or you can take out some of the light if you think that there's a little bit too much light in there. You can kind of customize the cut to the color. Another technique is just pulling it straight down and just taking a little bit out this way. Okay, so I'm done with this side. I'm going to move over here, slightly off center towards the left. And then just in the bottom doing just a few down. Okay, so this back section's looking better. Here we go, maybe one more right here. Okay, so now I'm going to take another section down, and it's going to be from the top of the head now to the ear. And I don't need clips anymore. I should be able just to move the hair with the comb. So I'm going to section off this back section and just comb all of the front kind of forward to section that off. There we go. All right, same thing. I'm going to start right in the back middle and lower this chair down. Okay, so I'm going to start back here, and I'm going to just take it from the roll of the head up now because this has all been texturized. We can just leave it alone. And I do it in sections like that just because it's hard to lift that when this is laying on top of it. So you do have to do that one first just to get it done and out of the way. And then I'm going to go through and I'm doing the same technique, starting underneath and just running the shears down the hair shaft and thinning it out. And you have to go off of feel. If you have to say, oh, does it feel too thick still? You'll get used to it as you do it. And if you don't take enough, you can go through and when it's dry and take a little bit more with some other techniques. I'll show you how to do that because most of the time I don't take quite enough. And that's safe because you can always take a little bit more. If you go crazy and take too much, then you cut too much out of the haircut and you don't have any form anymore and you lose the basic shape of the haircut. So that's not good. Is Daisy home? Is that my kindergartner?
Mm-hmm.
How are you today?
Can I have one piece of candy?
What?
Can I have one piece of candy?
Do you think you deserve a piece of candy?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know.
What did you do that was awesome today?
I do like candy.
So I did this whole back section and now I'm just kind of going through and lifting it up straight and just kind of talking and sliding. Not talking, just sliding the scissors down the hair shaft just to kind of give it a little bit of peekaboo ability. That's not even a word. Peekaboo ability, yes. Because we have all these pretty highlights underneath, so I'm taking this top section and just kind of slicing out a section of hair so that it can show the highlights underneath. Peekaboo ability. That is what it is.
That is a great April word.
Yeah. Okay, we need to do the front now. And there's a lot less hair in the front because it's just, there's the ear there, obviously there's not as much hair. So you don't have to go as crazy on the texturing. I like to do some just down in the ends. And I'm just going to do it the same we were doing on the other side. Just kind of straight down like this. Digging into it this way. Because lifting it out and shaving it this way, I think that would take too much. So this is just a little bit more conservative. And then this piece up here, you can just point cut into it a little bit just so it doesn't have quite as much length. So what I do is I usually just kind of comb it straight down and then find the guide over here and then I just point cut and round it out a little bit because it usually comes to like a really sharp point and I just kind of round it out this way. And that takes care of the extra length on the front. But like I said, some people might actually like that little extra long asymmetric piece in the front. So you can leave it if they want that. You can just talk to them about that. I didn't ask you, but you don't get to keep it, so.
Whatever you want, April.
Okay, I figured you'd say that. And especially this side is the thinnest side because we have a part on this side pulling all of this extra hair to that side. So this is definitely the spot on the hair that you need to be the most careful with your texturing, because if you take too much, then it just won't look right. You need to be really careful. I'm doing just in little ends here. Maybe just a teeny bit up in here. Okay, I think it's time to dry this up and see how the color turned out. What do you think?
Great.
Yes. Okay, so I think it's still a little bit too thick and heavy over here, just right in this section. So I'm going to take it up and take a section like this and take it straight up and fan out the ends. And I'm going to just point cut into the ends. And I'm even going to just take some of this section out with here. Now when it's dry, you need to walk or talk with the scissors. You can't just slide them because that will pull their hair. So when it's dry, you need to kind of go up and down like this and slowly move the scissors down the hair shaft. And that's really going to pop out some more movement in her hair. I'll show you one more time. So it's just these like teeny little, move your thumb, just like shake your thumb a little bit. And that should take out some of the bulk. And you can see what's going on in the hair a little bit better when it's dry. So I like doing some detail cutting at the end anyway. So what I'm doing is I'm digging my knuckle in, I'm pulling the hair straight out, and then right here I'm just kind of digging my knuckle in to fan it out a little bit. And that's helping me to get the hair to spread out, so I'm not cutting too much of the shape out. All right, so this is our shoulder length balayage haircut. You like it?
I like it.
Are you in shock?
Yes, but it's good shock.
Good shock, okay. I'm just gonna flat iron it. She has a little bit of wave. Is that okay if I flat iron it? She has a little bit of wave back here, and this should take care of it, so. And then you will get your finished product. All right, here you guys have it. It is so fun and short, and the peekaboo colors are really fun. And I can't believe she cut off like 20 inches of hair. It's summertime though coming. Yay. It's spring anyway. We're getting ready for summer with short hair for her. And I hope you guys like this video. Let me know what you think and let me know what you guys want to see for next time. And we'll see you guys later. Bye.